On this edition of COSA TV, our special guest is Sara Baillargeon. She has recently relocated to south of the border and is coming to us from New Jersey. And Sara, I want to thank you for joining us. And I understand you're in an interesting spot. You're staying in a hotel, I guess probably temporary accommodations for now. Tell us where you're located and how many horses you've taken down there with you.
I'm at Magical Acres, which is Tom Chantilier's training center. It's in Chesterfield, New Jersey. It's very close to other farms such as White Birch and Winners International. It's an ideal spot for people who race at the Meadowlands and Chester because it's located right in between these two tracks. I took 9 horses down with me. There's only 2 of us. And so if I can find some help, I'm sure there'll be more heading my way.
So talk about the decision for you to make the move down there. You're working with your father, Ben, up here, running one of the most successful and largest stables in Ontario. But obviously a lot of people forced to make that difficult decision to either send horses or relocate. So tell us how it worked out in terms of your stable in coming up with this game plan.
It was definitely conversations, and more conversations over a couple weeks. It was a very difficult decision for my dad to make. He's very protective of the horses, of the whole operation. He oversees every detail. And it's tough racing over here. It's different style of racing, something our horses aren't used to. You know, it's very much foot to the pedal and let's go over here. And so you're taking horses that haven't raced in weeks. They're not as tight as they should be, and you're going to send them to the Meadowlands. And so it was a difficult decision. It's also very expensive to race here. The shipping and the tolls add up. It's a completely different way over here. And so we had to weigh all the pros and the cons, and which horses would benefit from coming here and which should stay home. It was very difficult. Lots of conversations, that's for sure.
You know, before we get into the horses and the racing specifically, what's it like for you on a personal level? You said there's 2 of you that are there and looking after the stable. How's the lifestyle there compared to Ontario? You would have left Ontario as we moved into another basically full shutdown. Is the day-to-day lifestyle much different there in New Jersey right now?
Very much so. The masks are mandatory anywhere you go, just like at home, but everything is open here. Everything, the restaurants, sporting events are happening. Kids are allowed to play soccer, baseball. None of that is on hold right now. None of that. So it's different, that's for sure, from what we're used to at home this last year and a half. Everybody's vaccinated over here. They went through the training centers, right, and they handle that very well. And so we're staying safe. I brought Tanya Mitchell along with me. She and I are looking after 9, which is very hectic. And so we're just working. We don't have time to do anything else. So we just work. We keep to ourselves. We mingle with just a select few, and we're just staying safe. That's all you can do.
You said you brought 9 horses that are racing or that were close to racing down there. How did you establish which ones to take, and will there be some movement? Will there be some other horses maybe coming down to join at some point?
I hope so. I would have to find more help. I left horses behind at home such as Torin Hanover and Tracer Hanover. Those 2 I would have liked to bring with me. They're classy old boys. They're easy for me to look after. But I've got a solid bunch of 9 here. I brought along Zigzag. She's wild and free. Bautista and Refi are 2 very handy horses that I can take just about anywhere. And I have 2 that I need to qualify. And there's a hell of a lot more of them back home that need to qualify. And so I'm sure within the next couple weeks, depending on what happens back home, there'll be a Doyle truck heading my way.
Now, you mentioned She's Wild and Free. She got to the winner's circle for you the other night, and I believe that was your first winner south of the border as a trainer. Is that right?
Yes, it was. Yes, it was. My first start at the Meadowlands as a trainer was a winner, and that was very special. Definitely a team effort, though. It's Tanya Mitchell looks after her, and everybody back home is part of that win too. I couldn't have made it there without the whole team, that's for sure.
Yeah, you've got good help. Maybe talk a little bit about Tanya for those who don't know her. Certainly folks that do know her from the business know what she has gone through on a personal level, and to be where she is, and certainly in terms of working with the horses, a reputation that few could surpass.
Oh, she's excellent. I brought her here because I knew that everything would be done right. I could leave to go race. Everything would be taken care of. She loves horses more than anything. I can rely on her 100%, and she takes care of them like they're her own. We brought, of the 9 I have here, 3 of them, are hers out of the 9, and she looks after the rest of them like they're all hers. She's great. She's fantastic. You can't beat her. She hustles in the morning, I can tell you that. She hustles. Every time I come in with one, my next one's ready. She just keeps me rolling. She's fantastic. Fantastic. I wish I could have given the opportunity to others in my barn as well, because it's thrilling to come race at the Meadowlands or Grand Circuit. And I hope that I get to give them that opportunity at some point to hit the road once this whole COVID thing slows down. Tanya's been there, she's done that, and so it just made sense for me to bring her with me.
And how's the dynamic now with you and your father, Ben? We met you guys last summer, and we saw what it's like to work day to day in the same shed row. But now that you're apart and in 2 separate countries and trying to run things, how's that working out?
It's funny you bring that up, because today I was a little upset with Dad because I don't bother him. And if I'm going to call you at 6:30 in the morning, I just need your attention for 5 minutes. And today, there was 0 attention to me. And I'm like, just step out of the barn, go into the office. I need you for 5. Like, forget the barn at home. I need you for 5 minutes. And so today was not a very good communication day. We'll make up for it tomorrow. I know what he's like. He knows what I'm like. So sometimes it's just better to be quiet on each side of the border.
Now, when you're calling him, are you looking for just logistical information? Are you looking for some advice, or how does that work? And
oh, definitely.
Does it ever work the other way? Does he call you sometimes looking for an opinion or advice on things?
The trick with Dad is, if you have a suggestion to make, you word it a certain way, and then you give him about 24 hours for him to think it over, and then he'll agree to it, but it's now his idea, right? And so no, when I call him once a day, I just want to tell him how the horses jogged, how they came out of their races, and where we're going to enter them, and just your typical stuff. I mean, I'm young. I've been on the road before. I've taken horses on my own before, but this is entirely different in that I am fully in charge. I'm fully in charge of venturing and the driver changes and the vet work that needs to be done and the track work. And it's been very different this week. I found a new respect for my dad in that I'll never rush him out of the barn again. You know, if you come in with a horse and you need a 5-minute, you need to be on your phone, you need to write something down, or you just need to compose yourself, I will never rush him out the door again, because now I feel it. I'm out there jogging and I'm like, oh, I gotta do this when I get back, or I gotta write this down, or I have to do this later today. And the mind is constantly going. You don't want to forget anything. You're stressing about things that are just the small things. You can't control them, but you're still stressing about them. And so I have found a new respect for all trainers out there. All of yous out there. It's not
I'm sure
just the
he'll.
horses, it's the staff, it's the owners now. It's a lot. I'm glad I only have 9. I wouldn't want 40 right now.
He'll be smiling, I'm sure, when he watches this and hears you saying that. So yeah, it's you have to take everything as a learning experience, right? So I'm sure this will be invaluable for you that way. And communication always, I'm sure, critical to a successful operation, and now no doubt even more so. You talked about the differences though in racing there. Let's talk about a horse that I'm sure you're really anticipating a big season from this year, Rhythm in Motion. He ended off last year winning the super final, and yet you had him in to qualify last week, and it was an alarmingly subpar effort by his standards. Can you tell us what happened there and how he is, and will we see him back in action soon?
Yes, he will qualify Saturday morning at the Meadowlands. Very poor performance last week. I was worried. I had him scoped afterwards. He's fine. It's a different routine here. You know, back home, qualifying at Mohawk, you go first trip, throw a cooler on, put him on the truck, 20 minutes to Mohawk. Here, he had quite a day. We left at 6:30 in the morning to go to the Meadowlands. We got Lasix at 9. We warmed up during the break, and then we went behind the gate at 1:45. And so that was a very busy morning for him, very out of the ordinary. And he just didn't handle it well. And that's okay. I can't blame him for that. And so he's had a good week. I've looked after him, touched up on a couple things, and hopefully on Saturday he's better.
Yeah, fingers crossed. I mean, what a season he put together last year, and to end off on such a high note, one that I'm sure you've got big hopes for this year. Another son of Big Jim that really, I think, blossomed and hit a different level for you last year, HP Napoleon. And you've got him down there, and he raced pretty well the other night. Were you happy with his first start there?
I was very pleased with that effort, very pleased. Dad said he could have won if Dougie doesn't allow him to gap on the backside, but I'm okay with that 4th place the other night. It was a very good effort. These things haven't raced in weeks. We don't train hard at home, and so he needed that under his belt. I expect a very solid performance this coming weekend. Dougie was very pleased with him. He's had a good week, and I love this horse. He just tries all the time. You know, keep him hidden, show him the road, and he'll pace home as hard as he can. He had a disappointing winter, I would say, back at Mohawk. A couple driver changes, the corks kind of roughed him up. He got sore, and so I was very pleased when Dad said he was on the truck to the Meadowlands. I think he will benefit from the style of racing here. There's no backing, there's no middle halves in a minute, right? So he'll just follow, and then come home, and he'll make money here. He'll be an ATM machine here, I believe.
And yeah, I kicked home strongly the other night, paced I think at 49.3 his individual clocking. So yeah, real good first step for him, and if he can improve at all off of that, we'll hear, I think, more from him. In terms of the overall operation, both north, south of the border, who are some of the big horses in the operation that you're really excited about coming into the season?
There is a 3-year-old back home, wheeling and dealing, that I own with my dad. And I am so excited to see him race whenever we get back to it. And he'll be an OSS Gold for sure. He qualified like a freak train last year, and then he cracked a knee the night of the first Gold. And so he's coming back great. He's training great. And so I'm very excited to see him go this summer, given we have a season this summer back home.
Sure.
fingers crossed for that. What else do I like? There's a couple babies. There's a Walner filly, 2-year-old filly. She's all go, just can't get enough. Always ready, all trot. It could be a hurricane outside. She don't care, all trot. And there's Royalty for Life that trots exactly like HP Royal Theo. And that's another one that's coming back at 4 too, is Theo. And
Right.
he had his season cut short due to an injury, but he trained back great. He's definitely ready to qualify. Definitely ready. We got some nice stock. You can't leave out Vols. Vols, the Lola one. She's great. She'll come back as a 3-year-old. Loves the half, loves Mohawk. And so she'll be exciting. Definitely aiming for the big dances with her.
Yeah, you guys, you know, have a really deep stable. I think that's the way I would term it. You know, horses for all different classes, and young stakes horses, and real good older overnight performers as well. So real nice mix, and it affords you the opportunity to be down there, like you said, with a lot of nice racing stock. You mentioned the Hambo Hopeful, in particular, the Father Patrick colt that you've got down there. What will that decision look like in terms of, and you said before we came on camera that you're just not sure about maybe going back and forth with them with changes in weather and scenery and things like that, with the Hambo hopefully on the horizon?
Well, everyone's asking me how long I'm here for. And I asked them, why? You want to get rid of the Canadian girl already? I just showed up. I honestly don't know. That's what I tell them. I don't know. I don't know how long I'm here for. It could be a month. It could be 2. We'll see how things are at home. There's the trotting colt that's here. So let's say, you know, I get him qualified, a couple races into him, and then racing starts back up at home. Well, then we're going to reach that threshold. Like, do I bring him home and then bring him back to Jersey just before Hambo? Like, it's already 20 degrees here in the mornings when you get up. It's 35 and humid in the afternoon. And so you don't want to put horses through that. I would like to be here until Hambo, if he goes to the Hambo. Just, it would be very beneficial to him just to stick to a routine, stick to the weather down here, the track surfaces down here, the racing style down here. It's all things that would be beneficial to him, but the barn does not revolve around him because there's 40 of them, and Dad's very protective. Very protective. He likes to handle every little detail, so it all comes down to him for sure.
Sure. You know, a lot of, you're not the only Ontarians down there right now plying your trade. You know, quite a few of you. You mentioned Dougie, of course, who has been doing some driving for you, and
Yeah.
James McDonald down there, and others. You guys all, you know, keeping in touch and trying to, you know, keep each other from getting too homesick?
Yeah, we check in on each other, and I make sure my boys are going to show up to drive, and I feel bad. You know, James is coming to Chester for one drive on Thursday, but he says he's here to work, and Dougie's going to come help me train tomorrow morning, and no, we're keeping busy. Everybody wants to do well. Mark Stacy's crew is stabled at Magical as well, and so I'll jog with the guys, and we talk about back home and whatnot. And in the paddock, actually, the Meadowlands groups all the trainers' horses together. And so that way there's less movement around the paddock.
Okay.
And you can bring fewer employees at night as well. And so they race 9 in the Meadowlands paddock is, they call it Toronto. People walk by, they're like, hey, it's Toronto. Because you literally got, you know, Mark Stacy's crew, myself, Jared Baco's down here, Luke Blay, McNair's crew is here, and so yeah, we definitely get to hang out Friday, Saturdays.
And what's the reception like for the Canadian contingent? They treating you okay?
Yeah, they're nice people. They're nice people.
No, that's good stuff. Yeah, we see a lot of them, of course. up in this neck of the woods during the summer stake season. And yeah, I can tell that you know, we're all kind of one big fraternity when push comes to shove. And
exactly.
And, I'm sure they're there to lend a helping hand whatever they can. You talked about the decision to come back. I was going to ask you that, or when that'll be. And yeah, frankly, I guess you just don't know, right? You even if things open up here, maybe if things are going well, or if there's certain races that you've got earmarked down there, you think you might stay throughout most of the summer?
I'm kind of okay with that. A change in scenery is good. You know, you get to different racetracks, different people, different routine. And so when I packed up last week, I said I was packing up for quite some time and I was ready. And so Dad calls the shots, but I like it here. It's a little hectic, definitely a change in routine. Fridays are sleep deprived, but it's okay. It's fun, it's exciting, it's a challenge, and I'm definitely okay with staying here a while.
Well, good stuff. Yeah, really good start so far, and hope things go well for you. We'd be remiss if we didn't ask you about the old horse who we read retired recently. Your favorite, I'm sure, Musical Rhythm. I know you really wanted to get to the million with him, but you know, doing right by the horse first and foremost.
Exactly.
Calling it a career. Just talk about, you know, that decision, how that ultimately came to be that it was time to call it a career with him.
Well, he kind of told us, I guess. He won his first start back, and then he was second, and he came out of that race a little stiff. And Melissa McKee is his vet, and we x-rayed. We waited a couple more weeks. We x-rayed some more, and there was nothing major, just a little bit of wear and tear, and the old boy survived 2 career-ending injuries. And so he doesn't owe us anything. We wanted him to have a good retirement, which he deserves. And I wanted, most importantly, to retire him sound. And I didn't want to pick him up on the track. You know, he deserves better than that. And so it was tough. It was emotional for the owners as well. He's definitely everybody's favorite guy. But he's at home, and he adjusted very well. I was shocked at how well he adjusted, because the barn revolves around him. He always had to be the first one out the door. Makes a lot of noise in a day. Has broken quite a few walls and feed tubs in his lifespan there. So he's handling it well. He goes outside, he plays hard, definitely has to be supervised, but he's broke to ride, and he's really good at it. And so when I do get back home, I can't wait to take my boy out. And he's teaching the youngsters, you know, we tell them all, you just gotta have half the heart that Marty has.
Great champion.
I miss him. And you're gonna make me choke up.
Well,
I miss my boy.
we didn't mean to do that, of course, but it's just wonderful to hear that yeah, he's going to get to enjoy you know, the rest of his years and kind of a life of luxury, and he really deserves it. So yeah, congratulations on an outstanding career.
You.
Yeah, you've got a barn full of those classy old horses, right? The likes of Trasserhan over there as well. So yeah, we really appreciate you taking some time out to join us, and you know, we can't wait to see you back here, because that'll mean you know, we're back racing, and that's really what we want more than anything. And I'm sure your father's getting antsy. He's like probably an old horse that needs to get out of the stall. He needs to get back racing, I'm sure. So
yes, he does.
Thanks again.
Yes, he does.
Thank you again, Sarah.
Thanks for having me.
And
thanks for having me.
We'll catch up with you again in the summer, and continue good luck.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Sara Baillargeon coming to us from New Jersey. And yes, we look forward to seeing her and the Baillargeon stable back in action here in Ontario, hopefully in the not too distant future. We'll see you next time on another edition of COSA TV.